Welcome to this episode of Mainline Connect. I'm Jennifer Lynn Robinson, and I'm here today with my guests Cathie Berry Green and Al Green, who are the co-owners of BG Productions and Flat World Media Productions. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks.
And I will say up front, they are also very good friends of mine and super talented, and I've worked with them personally, so I'm so excited to have them here today.
Nice.
And we like to start out talking about something to do with networking and marketing that could help some of our viewers who are small business owners and things like that. And I wanted to ask you guys about networking events because I know, from my own networking, often you're at networking events where there's a ton of people who do the kind of work that you do, that are photographers, similar to the number of realtors you see at events, financial advisors. There's certain career paths, I think, where you're never going to be the only one in the room. Right. So you really have to find a way to stand out and distinguish yourself. And I wanted to ask you about kind of that dreaded 30-second elevator pitch. How do you go about at a networking event helping people realize, what's special about you guys in such a short time frame?
So we're talking about this ourselves, and we realize we don't really necessarily have a specific pitch.
Right.
We think we just kind of stand out given who we are and kind of what we look like and our energy level. That our whole business is kind of based on learning about each other and building relationships. So when we're talking to people, it just kind of flows and kind of natural. So then we can just kind of talk about the importance of photography and videography for small businesses, whether they're using us or somebody else. We think it's really important to have. So it's just a natural kind of element. It just flows, and we just talk about our own kind of creativity and how we kind of stand out that way.
A lot of events that we frequent, nowadays people recognize us even more so because we've been there more than once, and so that helps too. So most of the time we just kind of build conversation with people and figure out what their needs are, and then we kind of bounce that out based on that. So we kind of have more of a personal approach.
So two things you mentioned I think are really important to kind of emphasize more. One is going to events or organizations more than one time.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people go, and if something didn't come of it in a monetary way, like they got a client, they think, people weren't interested, or I'm not going to go back. And, it's important to have that continuity.
Exactly.
And then, you mentioned building the personal relationships, which I think is important because we all encounter those types at networking events that are just very salesy, that are about, closing a deal or telling you about the 10 different things that they offer, and not so much.
And I usually have a big camera around my neck because I'm usually photographing those kind of events, and so it's a natural icebreaker. Usually people are like, wow, that's a big camera, that's awfully heavy, or something like that. I call it my bling.
Yeah,
so.
in a lot of cases we'll have an event where she's photographing and I'm not. I'm just assisting her.
Okay.
So I'll bring my cards and I'll talk to people, and network in the mix of that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of help build more of a relationship with people. Regardless of where we're at. And sometimes we work with Wharton School. We were just in Canada doing a shoot there.
Okay.
And it's amazing because you can still network with people even if you're in another country, because most of those people are from different places themselves. Washington, D.C., New York, places that we can still drive to. Wharton School itself is in Washington as well. So, we do a lot of work out there. So, it's important to be able to establish relationships regardless of where you're at, because that's how you can become international, so we work on that as well.
And I love also hearing what you just said about kind of working as a team. Like if one of you is doing more of the hands-on work, the other one is still networking.
Right.
So
I prefer to be behind the camera. Al's a really good networker. I'm not quite so good at it. I usually just kind of join the conversation.
Okay.
But again, like you said, going to events or the same kind of organizations events repeatedly, that's definitely helped. Because I can walk in, one of the places that we do a lot with is the Independence Business Alliance.
Yes.
And so I can just walk into any of their events now and know somebody and just kind of have a good conversation with them and touch base and stuff like that. And then, I'm in their radar when they need something, or somebody who's seen us at a couple events. Because even at the first couple ones we went to, we didn't have so much, but it's really started to develop a lot now.
Yeah.
They actually referred me to an event during the DNC that I shot that featured Nancy Pelosi. So that was really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all about that continuity and, like you said, staying on people's radar.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think a lot of people forget, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you guys don't, but So you run two businesses, BG Productions and Flat World Media. Flat World Media Productions. Tell us about what they do and what kinds of things you offer.
So Flatworld Media is more Al's domain, so
Yeah.
he can talk about that. I kind of take care of the BG Productions photography and videography side, and that's predominantly weddings and events.
Okay.
We work with a lot of offbeat couples. We work with a lot of really low, kind of just chill, little vibey kind of fun, or folks that just want something different, a little more artistic imagery.
Right.
And even in that, to us, the most important thing is building that relationship. You know, when you're going to have somebody who's going to follow you all around all day on your wedding day with a camera in your face
you
constantly.
want somebody that you can be comfortable with.
Yeah, that you can be yourself. So we work to really strive to build those relationships.
The other thing I think is important too is that having a personal relationship, especially doing weddings and things like that, helps us to be able to capture things that are more personal to the client.
Definitely.
So that way we don't miss something. If you hire somebody that's not necessarily that doesn't know you in the same way, or gets to know you, somebody that just is hired and then shows up your day, there's a disconnect. You don't necessarily have the comfort with that person because you don't know who they are. They're a stranger. So building that relationship and being able to see those things that are more important, more personal to to those people, I think that helps us create a product that's more to their liking.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I know, I worked with you guys a few years ago to do a video for my website, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much time you took to just sit with me beforehand about my goals and what I was looking for and what I'm about and, what am I trying to do with the project, what do I want to convey, and all of that. I think a lot of people wouldn't do that.
Right.
And and while that's the basis of our BG production size, I think when we've carried it over to our Flatworld Media side, which is our commercial and corporate side, I think it's a really natural just kind of flow. And sometimes they cross over. We've done a lot of corporate work with a lot of our wedding clients and clients that were corporate. We've done their weddings. So
and on Flatworld Media Productions is just something I've had for a long time. I've had it since 2000. Okay. And I've always worked with nonprofit organizations building content for their media pushes, especially social media, things like that for websites. Another thing that we do that's really important are the profile videos, like what we did with you. Right. It's important because I think that these days there's not a storefront that people can walk into and meet you and shake your hand. So today, in today's technology with the internet, that's how people are meeting each other. And the best way to do that is have a video that expresses who you are and who your business is. Right. That way people can see who you are, understand that, and get that kind of impression. That's another way of shaking your hand. Yeah. In my opinion. So,
these days a lot of people are doing amateur video and viral videos and things like that. From your perspective, why is it important to have a nice, polished, professional video on a website?
I think it's important to have a nice polished video on your website to show that you have you've got that level of integrity. That you can hear it, you can see it clearly. You're going to make your own videos. You're going to put your own things out there because I think it's important to be able to be visible out there, and to create your own content is great. But to have that video that tells who you are, that sells who you are, you can't shoot that yourself. Not of yourself. It's better to have someone that can actually produce that at a quality that people can recognize today.
Yeah, I mean, I know, we have a mutual friend, Ashvini Mashru, and I'm just using her as an example because I know her, who's, a nutritionist, and she does a lot of wonderful things for her clients, and you guys did a whole series with her. Right. What I liked about it is not only was it wonderful and professionally done, but she was able to release it at different points. So, every month or so many months, whenever she wanted to put out the content, she had new content that was professionally done and polished and, showed a different side of what her business was about. And,
And in order for her to get quality business to come to her, she needs to show herself in a quality way.
Right. You want to show you've made an investment in yourself, right?
That it's not just someone sitting there, they're doing selfies on their phone, and now they're going to come and talk to you about nutrition.
Yeah, people recognize that. People recognize when you've shot something on your phone, and they're going to relate to you in that way. They're going to see you that way. But if they see that you've put more effort into something like a professional video, professional photography, they see that you've made that investment, maybe they can make that investment as well. Yeah,
no, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned a bit, before about you like to work with people that want something a little more artsy and things like that. Is that how you would describe your style? Is there a different way you would describe your style?
I think we're unique. We're creative. We always say we want to create artistic imagery. So whether or not you're getting married in a barn or you're getting married in a church, our clients all have one thing in common. They want to have fun on their wedding. They want it to be as stress-free as possible. And they want artistic imagery that's a little bit different than what everybody else is already doing.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I mean, I think you do have those type of bride and grooms who want the standard, I want my picture with Aunt Ida, and we want to just be standing here.
Oh, we always make sure we do the family photos,
too. No, I'm not.
Yeah, because that's so important,
especially...
as generations become older, it's really important. We always make sure a couple has a picture with just them and their grandparents.
But I think what you guys do really well is you capture those unrehearsed, kind of unplanned moments. I mean, you just did a wedding I was at as a guest, and I mean, the kind of moments you captured behind the scenes that I don't think even the couple knew you were taking, and now they have these really special
Those
pictures.
are our favorite. Those are my favorite, especially when I'm doing video, because if I look around and I don't see the couple, and I'm filming something that's crazy on the dance floor, or just something is just happening that's natural, that's great for me, because I feel like they'll appreciate that more.
Sure.
Because they weren't there to see it anyway, and so that's something else that they'll be able to take from their day.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you cover a lot of weddings, and, we're talking about the different styles that people like, whether it's the stage photos or the moments that are more candid. When people are looking for a wedding photographer, what advice would you have for them as far as what to look for, that would match their style? There's so many good wedding photographers out there, but they're all very different. So what should people be looking for?
I think it's all about the relationship. Everything we come back to is about the relationship. If that's not so important to you and you just want someone to take pretty pictures, there's lots of people who can do that.
Right.
And lots of different styles. So knowing what your style is first, do you want something artistic, or do you want something that looks more like it kind of came out of like Vogue magazine, with a lot of like dramatic lighting and that kind of stuff? Or do you want something that's all just candids, or something that's all just pose? So kind of having just a little concept of what you want, looking around, and then meeting with people and really going with what the relationship feels like. A lot of times our clients leave and or somebody will leave from a consultation and they're right, like, oh my gosh, it felt like we were just sitting around with old friends.
That's what you want.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. We choose to not work out of a studio. It's really important to us. We actually have a specific room in our house. It's a whole client room. Got all kinds of really pretty, artwork from different clients' weddings and stuff. It's very personal. We sit and we just kind of talk. We learn all about who they are and about, how they met and what their plans are for the future and, what kind of wedding they envision. And it's in our home. I mean, our dog is laying like at our feet, and, it's just such a personal approach. And that is not for everybody. And if it's not, that's great. We are looking just as much when we meet with somebody to see if they're a match for us as we are for them.
Are there people that meet with you and say, oh, this is great, I want to work with you, and then you guys consider it and think they're not a good fit?
Typically, if someone's like, oh, we really want to work with them, that means they more are a fit because they like the style. There are people that will come in and you're not so sure.
Yeah, not always are people that come to us that want our work necessarily the type of client that we would typically think we would attract.
Okay.
You're right. But they see through us. Right. Exactly. They see through us that they can get something that's more artistic versus a routine, of photography or videography or whatever they're getting from us. So that gives them something more, and they also recognize once they've sat down with us how organized we are.
Right.
And there are people we've turned down. You start to tell that by the types of questions they ask, like, do they get to dictate what the photos look like, what the editing process, and things that don't lend our creative flexibility and our style so much. But people that are super excited to work with us, that we've never had it that way because they are such a match and it seems much more obvious.
Right.
And it's not ever based on like where their wedding is or what they look like or what their budget is. It always has to do with the actual just, I guess you call it the woman fuzzies, what is the connection? Is there something that we can connect on beyond just, oh, you're getting married, I'm going to take your picture?
Okay.
We also do, once clients book with us, we do a questionnaire. And it has all kinds of different things that we can learn about each other. We just did a deaf couple, and we don't sign. And I know a little bit of sign language in the alphabet, and we did some research and did some studying and practice and made flashcards, did all kinds of stuff. And in their questionnaire, they talked about that he likes Marvel movies and Transformers.
Okay.
Well, that's totally us.
That's
So
yeah.
we're like, how do we break the ice? How do we get across who we are? So I wore one of my Transformer T-shirts, and he wore one of his Marvel T-shirts.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
soon as they saw us, they were like, oh my gosh, it was just the effort and just right there, like we had something in common, and then we just communicated, by texting and writing notes, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question about kind of how the process of working with you guys works. And you mentioned a questionnaire for weddings. Do you do that with all the other services that you offer? Does it start with a questionnaire? Is there a free consultation? How does that work?
With the wedding side, there's a free consultation. We actually want to meet with people. It's very rarely that we haven't met at all. We might have met via Google Chat or or something, but that relationship again is really important. So we definitely want to try to meet in person. Corporate's a little bit different.
On the flat world side, it's a little different because a lot of times what happens are people are looking for somebody at the last minute to cover something, speeches, speaking reels, conferences, anything like that. So that communication is a little different, but I still come across with a personal approach, even still, because I want to know what they can manage. Knowing what they can manage, and one of our slogans is flexible solutions for your business needs.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we can match what it is that you're looking for, and that we're the right company for you. And so I work with people also with editing online. So a lot of companies that I work with are out of Ohio or New York State, so they're too far away to sit down and have a consultation and sit there and with me and edit and things like that. And so I have programs online that allow me to be in personal contact with them through the editing process at the same time. So it makes everything very, very clean, very organized, very easy to
seamless.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think they appreciate that a lot more. It gives them more freedom and more flexibility on their own side, and a lot of them are coming with clients, so they're not necessarily my client. They're the middle person between the client. And so that communication helps. Being able to be comfortable with those people, because that contact has other people that they work with as well.
You always have to be thinking about
exactly.
that.
So this one client is that's our job there, but this person that I'm talking to still has the potential to contact me again.
Right, or refer you.
Exactly.
Well, even like we work a lot with Einstein, we work with
Einstein,
Penn Medicine, McGee Rehabilitation. There's so many different departments.
Right.
And, one department might be something we work with a lot, and another department might need something. And so they'll always, they often go to the people that we already work with, and they're like, oh, who did this, or who do you recommend, and they, they can refer us that way.
Yeah, and Einstein especially has, we've got a great relationship with Einstein. We've done several very important videos for them on the donor side. And even currently right now we're working on a donor video to help the physicians understand that when people are coming to them with donations, because not always does a physician feel as if their job is to cure the cancer, to help the patient, not to collect money.
Right.
So the video series that we're doing now is to help them understand that this is an important thing too, to recognize that way then there can be innovations in the technology and in the research.
They might dedicate a wing, or there might be a plaque, or they might dedicate some kind of like a scholarship fund. So highlighting those kind of those people that donate back.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know you guys also work with Spoonful Magazine, which is a quarterly magazine about cooking and entertaining, and you do a lot of food photography. Tell us about some of your work with that.
I'm their main video producer there. So I do a lot of the work for a lot of their So they have a few videos that are like training videos, teach you how to use knives, teach you how to use, how to cook eggs, different things like that. So I do a lot of the training videos, and I do also a lot of their smaller videos that are like cocktail parties, kind of show you how certain drinks can be made, and how to really put a party on, how to set the table, things like that.
Okay.
So that's a fun project. It's more of a creative outlet, something that we really enjoy doing. Cooking is something that we just do personally.
Right, I know you guys do a lot
we
of
love
that
doing that ourselves.
Yeah.
And so like that transition of being able to do that for a living also is a lot of fun. I think we enjoy that a lot.
And it's based in Philly and Chicago as well. So there's really two teams, and then there's a couple people that are not in either one of those spots. And Al's done all the videos, the meet the teams, kind of like that video profile about who the different members of the Spoonful are. And I love doing the food photography. I love doing it with Spoonful specifically because I can just let my own creative juices flow. I don't have an art director per se, dictating every single step of how I'm supposed to take something. I can just kind of feel my way through the photographs, which is what I do when I photograph anything.
Right.
And I'm super excited for the fall issue because the cover story is one that I shot.
What is it?
I can't tell.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look for that. When's that coming out?
But in the spring issue, which was their first issue, I did a story on their photographs on Art in the Age story, and then I did some others for the Cape May honey and so from the last issue, and then I have a couple more coming in.
So when does the fall issue come out that we can look for the cover story?
know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
I don't know
All
yet.
right. Well,
I can't wait
for that.
And I'll have a bunch in the December or the winter issue as well.
Okay.
Think
So I know,
chocolate. That's all I'm going to say.
Chocolate, good. Love chocolate. Love that. Okay. So I know one thing that we've all shared passion for is animals and animal rescue. And my husband and I were fortunate to be part of your BG Bully Family project, and I'd love you to tell us more about that. Yeah.
So we love rescues. We have 5 cats now. They've all kind of come to us from the streets. And we have an adorable 4.5-year-old boxer bulldog pit who's a rescue.
Whose name is Bella.
Whose name is Bella. And she's the belle of the ball. And I just started kind of researching and learning a lot more about people's views on pit bulls. There's an awesome nonprofit, Pinup for Pit Bulls, and I'd already worked with them and gone to some of their events and stuff like that, and they do a wonderful job. And I started just researching and learning a lot about breed discrimination. And I just was floored that here's this amazing dog we have that somebody could judge, and there are certain cities I can't live in.
Right.
Because she's got like the tiniest little bit of pit bull in her. And it just was such a shame. And I thought, well, I want to do something that normalizes these dogs. And the other thing is that we know a lot of folks have tattoos, and a lot of folks with tattoos have a lot of pit bulls, and they also are judged based on how they look. So originally the project started out with people that had tattoos, with families.
Okay.
And then I kind of thought, well, look, I'm just discriminating myself. Not everybody has tattoos, and not everybody has families. Like, these are our fur babies. I know they're your fur babies. And so I was like, what can I do to just showcase what great dogs these are in general with people? And so I developed the BG Bully family, and we photographed so many amazing families. We go into their home or the park.
Or Lily Pulitzer.
Or
like
Lily Pulitzer. And I mean, how cool. Like, who would have thought, like, Lily Pulitzer would allow a pit bull photo shoot in their store, and they did, and it was fantastic.
I mean, people have such a misunderstanding or misconcept of what pit bulls are, what they represent. They are so cute. They
so
have
loyal.
amazing eyes. Their eyes are awesome. They're very loyal, very loyal. And they have this wiggle.
They have the best wiggle.
They have this wiggle. When you come home, it's just the funniest thing. It's like it just brightens your day. If you had a bad day and you come home and your dog's just in the window, just shaking, just wiggling, just happy to see you coming home, you can't have a bad day.
I'm with you.
And we look at the whole breed discrimination as just another way of just stereotyping, whether it's people, whether it's animals. There's just not that much place in our world for that anymore. So it's time to just kind of start to look at people as individuals, look at dogs as individuals. And statistics actually show that pit bulls are not the most vicious of the dogs out there. We won't go into the ones that they do deem are, But there, it's safe to say there's a lot more Labrador bites as well.
Right. Well, I mean, what I've learned over the years too is it depends on the dog, not the breed.
Yeah.
It depends,
Always.
it depends on the circumstances, the background, the household, all of that. I mean, it's not the dog, it's not the breed. Yeah.
Yeah, they have personalities just like people do.
Right.
And not all dogs are exactly the same in mannerism or
and you don't want them to be.
Yeah.
So I love that project.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure we touched on that.
Yeah, it's got its own Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we keep in touch with a lot of the families that we photograph. We're actually getting ready to do an actual family session for one of this fall for one of the families that were from the BG Bully Project.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
They had their own Yappy Hour in Allentown.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
they had a Yappy Hour.
So so the two of you, are husband and wife. How is that a challenge to work with your spouse? Is it more rewarding than not? Is it sometimes difficult?
It's got its rewards.
Yeah.
It's got its rewards. We definitely we see a lot of each other.
Yeah.
That has its good and its bad.
Right.
Obviously, because we're constantly together for the most part when it comes to that. We do a lot of pretty much everything together. Yeah. So there's times where we should take breaks from each other. And be able to do other jobs. Sometimes you'll do an assignment and I'm not there. And it works out nicely that way for all sorts of reasons. But together we have strengths and we have weaknesses, each of us, and I think we balance each other out really well with our strengths and our weaknesses.
I have a lot of energy. He's all like,
kind of somebody has to be that.
Somebody has to keep everybody organized.
Somebody's got to be the hustler for that reason.
My strength is very much the paperwork and the office stuff and getting all that done. I used to be a school teacher, so I can write a timeline, for a wedding day in my head in like 2 seconds. And so I play off of that strength, and he's again a better networker, so I can kind of go on his shirt tails for that.
I can move crowds really well.
Yeah.
I also have a tendency to be very helpful, and I'm tall for one, so I can reach for things, all sorts of stuff, So I try to use my what's best of me, my best quality to bring to the business that we can both share, we can both take advantage of, and I think it works out great.
And I mean, in being married, I mean, it definitely, has its harder times sometimes, because you are around each other constantly. And if you had an issue, you gotta suck it up and push it off to the side and keep on going. And that actually is helpful in the long run because then you don't have time to dwell on it. And people always give this advice, at weddings, like probably 3 out of 4 weddings we hear, oh, don't go to bed mad. Sometimes you're not over something, and that's okay.
But sometimes I bet you have to go film weddings.
You have
and
to
you've
go
had an
film
argument,
weddings,
and then you're at this beautiful
and
romantic event. Yes.
You just keep moving, and it does. It just helps you. It helps you not dwell in it, because really by the time the wedding's over or the shoot or whatever, you're like, I don't even remember why I was so mad or what happened. You just
it just
work
puts
together.
Perspective too.
And then because we work together as husband and wife, everything we do is about us. We travel, we have fun, we're up every night editing together. And it doesn't seem like so much work because we're still doing it together. And we're building this business based on our ideals. We try to be as environmentally sound as possible. We have a deep faith and belief in social justice work. And that shines through our business, especially the BG production sides with marriage equality and stuff. And it's just us living our life. Like when we were thinking about that question, we realized we really are just living our life, and the business is just part of our life.
And that's how it should be.
And that's how it should be.
I mean, we talked about this the other day. We were saying to ourselves, at least in my perspective, I don't really think of myself as an owner of a business. I think of myself as a media producer. And because I do photography, I do video, I do graphics. So I call myself a media producer. So I look at myself as an artist versus a business owner in the same sense. Even though I know the business is there, it does what it does, I see myself as an artist, and that's how I identify mostly.
So I want to make sure people know how to reach out to you guys if they're interested in learning more. So, you know, whatever you want to share, phone, website, you know, social media,
So we have BG Productions, photography and videography. Its website is www.bgproonline.com. And I'm a huge Instagrammer, so it's BG_Productions. And then we also have Facebook and Pinterest, both under BG Productions.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on today. And please check out their website, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.